Yo, what up? You're tuned in right now with SpeakerBox X, V-Riv, and Thesis right now on the ones and twos. We doing what we do. Jump on in.
You're listening to KTDT Tucson, we're 99.1 FM, downtown radio, the antidote to corporate radio. You're now tuning into SpeakerBox X, a subtraining hip hop in effect with your host, V-Riv. We have a very special guest in the house, and he goes by Rather Not. How you doing, Rather Not?
Doing good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. I've been following your show for quite some time now. I'm always sharing your stuff, and I'm really a big fan. I like the people you brought by on the show. I'm a fan of them as well. And like I said, it's an honor to be here, and finally speaking to you.
Oh, yeah, thank you, man. No, you're a dope artist, and I'm glad that we met. Yeah, I'm glad this is happening. So I'm curious, how did your name come about? Rather Not, like, how did that come about?
It's so Rather Not is it's kind of like, you know, when you get that feeling, that rather knotted up feeling in your throat or in your chest. When you get that knot, it's like, it's a feeling I've always had, just like knots in my stomach or knots in my chest or my throat, just from situations and things that I've been through. That's always been like the most prominent feeling I feel. Like, even sometimes before a fight, like, I just feel these knots like in my in my stomach and throat. And growing up, having a mother with cancer, I just remember walking to school or walking home, that anxiety, that feeling was always in my stomach, like as I was away from her, like not knowing if she passed away. If I was on my way to school or at school, just, it was always this anxious feeling that I've always lived with. And I guess Rather Not came from that. And I remember just first time. I'm a huge advocate for suicide awareness and stuff. So I remember since I was 9 years old was like one of the first times I felt that feeling really heavily in my stomach and in my throat. And I was looking for a new name, and that's when I started contemplating. That's what came to mind.
Wow, no, that's deep, man. Wow. Yeah, it seems like it came from a place of anxiety. I felt like there was a lot of anxiety going on when you were young, especially with your mom, man. Like, that's hard. I hope she's all right. Is she doing good? She's still with us? Or?
No, she's no longer with us. And I thank God for taking her at the time that he did, because she was ready, you know? She was ready. She was suffering too much on earth, and it was time. It was time. And the crazy thing with that is that she always told everybody that she was gonna wait till I turned 18 for that to happen for her to like. She just prayed all the time. Give me like out loud, like God, give me till my youngest is 18 years old. I want to see him graduate. I want to see him become a man. And she did. She passed away right before I turned 18, and I had graduated high school.
Wow, man, that's hard, man. You grew up.
It's deep, right? It's deep.
Yeah, wow, it's deep. But I mean, now you got a family, so I mean, you know what I mean. That's good. You're able to like still, you know what I mean, recuperate and get yourself back out there, man. That's tough. I can't imagine losing my mom at that age. That's hard. That's really hard. Speaking of moms, did she influence you on your music? What type of music?
Yeah, very heavily. My mom she's a typical Mexican mom that listened to music, and she always had a song for anything that was going on in life. Like there was always a song that she was really that she was messing with really heavy, you know. And then just the classics too. She was into a lot of gospel, even English being her second language. She listened to a lot of oldies like the Temptations and all the good stuff, Luther Vandross, and she even listened to things like the music from the Eagles and American rock like that. And she just had such an eclectic vibe that it influenced me so heavily. So sometimes I feel like I'm hip hop stepchild because I have all these different influences, musical influences, corridos, norteñas, cumbias, all this stuff. Yeah. So yeah, her music definitely had a lot to do with my like the style of music that I make. I was very influenced by it.
Wow. Okay. All right. Speaking of, because you had a whole bunch of different genres you're into. Which ones were the ones what were the artists that played a major role shaping your adolescent years? Like if I told you, okay, which artists, if you could just name a few of them just off the dome, which one would they be?
Dang, anything from like Nas, Biggie, Pac, Jay-Z was big, the Lox, Dipset. I listened to a lot of East Coast stuff, RBL Posse, a lot of West Coast, Das FX. In my mid high school years, early to mid high school years, I was listening to Def Jux. Everybody on the Def Jux camp, Idea, Murs, Slug, Aesop Rock for sure, Quell and Maker, just like you name it. I've taken in a lot of I've learned a lot from all these MCs, definitely. A lot of knowledge. I listen to lyrics closely, and I can name so many still that I feel so strongly about, but those mainly.
That's good. No, that's good stuff. Oh yeah, Rock. Yeah, you can't. The gods, right, of hip hop, right? Rakim, yeah. Being Rakim, yeah. Yeah, you named Idea. I mean, he's one of my top favorite MCs of all time. Rest in peace. Yeah, yep. But and I'm glad his DJ's still, making music. That's good. DJ Billy's still around doing his thing, so that's a good thing. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about, since we're talking about MCs, when did you decide to be an MC? Like, what made you want to pursue that career? Or I don't know, some people don't consider it a career, they consider it a hobby. What do you consider it?
Therapy, honestly. I feel it's a cherry on top that people really like. With the last album that I dropped, the last project that I bought, a lot of people were really supportive. They were buying it, they were asking for it, they were coming for it. I was driving to them for to deliver it. But mainly it's therapy. It's a way to get by, No, I think I make music for myself, and like I said, it's the cherry on top that people can relate to it and they can feel it. And if they can't relate to it, they can vibe to it.
For sure. We're gonna go ahead and take a musical break. I'm gonna go ahead and play your track called Sane, and this is off your album that just dropped, called Book of Rather Not.
Yeah.
I started off sane, don't lost my brain. Don't know where my mind went. Think cocaine, I'm so mindless. But that's where I find it. I'm drunk off the juice, I'm starting at mosh pit. I'm acting obnoxious. Disrespect, I'm rocking your noggin. You better be cautious. My delivery flawless. Come up in your office, cough in your face. Who the fuck is Corona, no lime? What a disgrace. This world is toxic. I'm feeling robotic. Little bit nauseous. I'm drinking that work till now, cussing out boxes. But every time they make me feel like I was inside them. My emotions like if bodies I caught. You'll never find them. In my closet, I got a rifle with no fingerprints on it. I'm not at all sane, don't feel the same. I'm running off fame. My donuts high grade, octane in my brain. I'm lighting my flame. Don't feel the same, boy, we not the same. Hope you feel the same. I started off sane. Started off sane. I'm not at all sane, I don't feel the same. I'm running off faith, my donuts high grade. I can't in my brain, I'm lighting my flame. Don't feel the same, boy, cause we're not the same, boy. Hope you feel the same. I started off sane, I started off sane, started off sane.
I started off sane, but never a saint. Cause I never break. Not cause of fate, or cause of hate. That's what they say, yeah. I'm up in my brain, losing its gate. Introverted mistakes. Back from the break like Batman and Bane. You get what I'm saying? I can't even escape or create the escape. I can't be vain, I'm a lady to escape. I have withdrawals from my memory bank. It's not art like I die on pain. Lock up the arms that I'm tapping the safe. Thanos and Marvel, I snap and erase. I just play hard while I'm slapping the bass. Opening portals, I laugh in my face. I started off saying, part in the maze, it's part of the space. Ears are engaged, they talking about maze, it's part of the pace. She craving the vein, I'm feeling her face. She gon' need a drink. I started off playing, but I'm not the same. This shit ain't a prank, nah.
I'm not at all sane, don't feel the same. I'm running off faith. My donuts high grade, octane in my brain. I'm lighting my flame. Don't feel the same, boy, we not the same. Hope you feel the same. I started off sane. Started off sane. I'm not at all sane, I don't feel the same. I'm running off faith. My donuts high grade, octane in my brain. I'm lighting my flame. Don't feel the same, boy, cause we're not the same, boy. Hope you feel the same. I started off sane. I started off sane. Started off sane. What?
You're listening to 99.1 FM Downtown Radio, the antidote to corporate radio. You're now tuning into SpeakerBox X, Subterraneous Hip Hop in Effect with your host V-Riv. We just played a track called Sane by Rather Not off his album called The Book of Rather Not, and we're just chopping it up. We talked about his musical inspirations, the MCs he's admired and that played a major role in his adolescent years. We talked about his mom, and we're going to go ahead and keep diving into the mind of Rather Not. So what inspired the track Sane? I like the title.
Saying is I was working at Amazon at the Amazon warehouse, and I'm not gonna get into much detail, but that was heavily influenced by. I mean, that song's heavily influenced by my day-to-day life there, and also like there's a lot of technicalities like technical style rapping that I was doing in those verses. So it was just really a show of skill and different flows and being on beat, half beat, slowing things down, speeding it up, things like that. It was a really fun track to write.
No, I could hear it. Yeah, I liked it. I enjoy it.
Yeah. And so that's basically where it all came from. It's kind of a flex of skill.
So speaking of your tracks, let's go ahead and talk about Hyperbaric Chamber featuring Lago Milagros. It's super dope. What inspired that track? I feel like it has spiritual connotations to it. Can you go ahead and tell me more about it?
Yeah, that track there, the vibe there was very personal. I had a lot of emotion towards how I felt about my brother passing away. Rest in peace, Toxic. And I have a spiritual side of me, definitely. I have a religious side of me. I feel like there's a creator, there's a higher being. So there were a lot of references to that. And give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, that was my daughter. She's a little thirsty. I don't know. It's kind of hard to put it in words sometimes, even though like sometimes the lyrics are like pretty much self-explanatory. I can tell you that day that we shot that video though, we were in Barrio Viejo, and we were just walking around looking for places to shoot, and I don't know how spiritual that place was. I mean, in the same place that has so much history of of our Chicano and Mexican American culture. There's a lot of people there who have kind of gentrified it, but in one of those places there, no, I mean, and it's still amongst like the gentrification, like it's still, I mean, the walls, it's like they have so much to say,
Yeah.
Their emotion there. There's like, you can feel all the energy that's like stored in those streets. Like, so it just like everything kind of just came together and matched. Lago was telling me that there was a satanic jeweler that had a shop there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we walked by his place, and Lago's a U of A grad, so he actually got a chance to like go into that shop, and back in the day, and get to talk to the jeweler himself, and he was just sharing so many stories about visiting there, and I think he knows some authors that also live in that area too, and it's just the vibe was so heavy, and as it got darker, the feeling was just even heavier, and we would be recording the video, and then you would just see orbs in the shots, and oh, no. Yeah, there's a scene at the cathedral at St. Augustine where it wasn't windy at all, but like we got close to the doors because we were looking at how cool the doors looked, and they just like shook, and we just thought like somebody was messing with us the whole time.
Wow.
And if I bring up the lyrics right now, this is what I'm doing. The first line is like, "There's a war going outside, nobody's safe from." When I'm referencing the spiritual world, the battle between good and evil. And even people who aren't spiritual can kind of see like something's off right now.
100. I agree. Yeah.
There's so many things happening right now in current events that kind of have references in the Bible, and like if you know your history, like history just like keeps repeating itself, and it almost doesn't even seem real. It feels like there's a surreal. It's a surreal time we're living in, like we're all in the Truman Show.
That's deep.
So, yeah. So when I say like, so that's when I say like the next few lines is just like, I'm not the fool you want to take from my third eye vision grace, son. I know you feel it when you wake up, imminent danger, the loneliness, the sorrow, the heavy feeling of a wager. And I say that wager is almost like the spirits, or this good and evil battle for good and evil is ultimately going to cost our soul. Like it's like our souls being in the middle of a tug of war between good and evil sometimes, and we've all had experiences where we had to delve on either side of good and evil, kind of like a Machiavellian like superhero, kind of like Deadpool, where he just like rides that fine line where like the X-Men just don't dare to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're
so
right.
in life, I've always felt if like the means justify the ends, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to take care of me and mine. So whoever else is on that wavelength, that same wavelength that I am, like I'm not the guy that you want to come for.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Been through too much, seen through too much, I've done too much. Like I'm the wrong guy. I'm not the one, homie.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's good. I feel like people need to have strong morals. I feel like we're in a society where there's a lot of weakness going on. And I mean, it's not a bad thing, but at the same time, when we're inundated or saturated with just negativity and just like, I just see there's a lot of weakness, and it's not a bad thing. It's just something we need to like work on, because I feel like what's being projected on the screen is a reflection of us because we haven't cleaned out our own garbage. You know what I mean? I feel like the garbage that we've been trying to ignore and put away is trying to become, you know what I mean? Like in our face. You know, like it's
I
crazy.
know exactly what you mean, especially like during these times of COVID where people were being quarantined. It's like they were forced to live with themselves. They were forced to live in that trash.
Yeah.
So people have this outer image that they project, and I feel like I think Jim Carrey said something similar to this, where people like pick different characteristics of this character they want to be, and they want to laugh like that, and they want to say things like this guy, they want to sound like this, they want to be as smart as that guy, and then they live under this persona the whole time, that when they're forced to look within and they're alone with their thoughts, people almost hate themselves. They break down, they almost hate themselves, and they they're forced to look within. We have this outer vision, never look inner.
That's true. And that's where the truth is. I think we need to start paying attention to ourselves, to our health, to what we buy into, because you are what you eat, you are what you see. So I feel like the more, it's kind of like, there's like, those movies that come out. I think it was maybe Merlin. I don't know. There was like one of these movies that are kind of fantasy. It's like a fantasy movie. And I remember it impacted me a lot. There was like at the very end of the movie, there was like this like a witch, I'm not sure, but it's like an evil person, right? They were just an evil character throughout the movie. And then this character told everybody, don't pay attention to him. Stop paying attention to him. If you don't pay attention to him, he'll go away. Like he will vanish. He'll no longer exist. You are making him exist because you're paying attention to him. And I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like in my mind, I was like, whoa, like that's so crazy. Because then everybody ignored him, and then they started not giving him that power, right? That power of attention. And then he just slowly died. And he was like, no, pay attention to me. He was trying to get their attention by any means, but they were just like not having it. And then he was gone. Like, I was like, wow. I mean, if people can really, focus their attention on the right things, wow, we would be so much further. You know what I mean? I feel like as a species, as humanity. So,
yeah, so too. I agree with that.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a musical break. I'm going to go ahead and play your track called Hyperbaric Chamber featuring Lago Milagros.
Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino, hágase tu voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo. Y danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día y perdona nuestras ofensas. Call your santeros, your priests, your curanderos. Let them know it's time for heavy metal. The darkness sleeps in every ghetto. Where are my rebels, my truth seekers? It's time to let go. There's a war going on outside, nobody's safe from. I'm not the fool you wanna take from my third eye vision, grace, son. I know you feel it when you wake up. Imminent danger, the loneliness, the sorrow, the heavy feeling never wage up. For your soul, it's for your soul, it's for your soul. This that sick hop your demons bob they head to. As it whispered that you do things you weren't meant to. You ain't gotta watch the news to see the evil rolling through. Can you tell me what a simple man's to do? My best friend couldn't take no more of this, and I don't blame him at all for it. I put my palms together and I sing all my offerings. I'm putting my all in this. No, you won't find me slumped just yet, but that won't mean that I won't do it, that I won't regret. As above, so below, so you know how I broke when that knife's through your throat. Open up your eyes, no, open up your mind, ho. Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino, hágase tu voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo. Y danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día y perdona nuestras ofensas como también perdonamos.
I'm just vibing on myself, keeping calm, staying vigilant. Never on the surface, I'm the true issue gets intimate. I'm somewhere between monk and a militant. Funk got me in a slip, travel to my innocence. When the world was so different, parents branded immigrants. Learned the mother tongue before English, just in case imprisonment. Learn to hustle harder than I'm living in. Heart made of stone, but that stone from the infinite. War going on outside, come get that peace, son. Lago from the ether, milagros cause I'm here, bruh. Y me siento tan tranquilo, allá pa' la iglesia, Dios está conmigo. Holy, only right path for an OG. This that realm bob, keep the spirits up off me. World knows, demons keep climbing through that portal, and we waiting on them with that shh. There's a war going on outside, nobody's safe from. I'm not the fool you wanna take from. There's a war going on inside, I can't escape from. It's best to face that danger. There's a war going on outside, nobody's safe from. I'm not the fool you wanna take from. There's wars going on inside, I can't escape from. It's best to face that danger.
Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino, hágase tu voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo. Y danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día y perdona nuestras ofensas como también perdonamos nosotros.
You're listening to 99.1 FM Downtown Radio, the Antidotes Corporate Radio. You're now tuning into SpeakerBox X, a subterranean hip-hop in effect with your host, V-Riv. We have a special guest in the studio. He goes by Rather Not, and we just played the track called Hyperbaric Chamber featuring Lago Milagros. How did you guys meet? How did you and Lago?
And him, we met through Toxic.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
he met Toxic somewhere at an event, and my little bro, my brother Toxic, he was such an introvert at times. And then he finally came out of the shell, and he was like rapping at events and stuff. He was like just trying to go get the mic and spit bars, and he just leave people in awe every single time he spit. And I think one of those guys was happened to be Lago, and he was hosting an event, or he was performing at an event, and George went up there and freestyled, and he really surprised Lago. And I think Lago at that time, like I said, was a student at the U of A, and they linked up. Then later I became part of Camerata, and we started rocking shows and just building, working.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. What's your opinion on the state of hip hop? Do you think it's going through a state of emergency, a state of renaissance? What's your take on it?
I think hip hop is what it is. It's a living being. It's its own creature. It's something you can't encapsulate. You can't put it in a box, and it should never even be put in a box. Like I remember times when I was still young and I was like naive to the hip hop game. I hated commercial music. I hated the songs that were on the radio. You know, like Soulja Boy at the time, maybe even. I don't hate him now. Yeah. But I remember hearing an interview where Jay-Z was saying that he liked Soulja Boy. And Jay-Z was like one of my biggest influences at that time. And I was like, what? Like, how could you like Soulja Boy? How can you accept that type of music in the industry? And he was saying, like, that kid's just rapping about what he knows. Like, he's from the suburbs. He already came from money. He's dancing. He's dancing. He's talking about his dance moves. Like, why should we hate on him? Why should we cancel him? Why, you know what I mean? He was saying he applauded him, and then it made me realize, like, oh, yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people have problems with Lil Nas X right now, and honestly, it's freedom of expression. Who's anybody to shut anybody's mouth? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's music, you know. For somebody, it's there's something for everybody out there. I never thought that I'd have a fan base. I never thought that I'd have a loyal following. I never thought that I'd get messages saying like, yo, you know, this song really helped me through this tough time in my life. And there's probably people out there who don't like underground, who don't like hip hop, who don't like that orthodox, you know, style of hip hop. And that's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's to each their own.
No, yeah, I agree. I feel like you know, hip hop is stigmatized. I'm trying to destigmatize it because even though it does have negative music, there's also the positive, and every genre has negative music if you really think about it. You know what I mean? Every genre has. So I don't like when they stigmatize hip hop, because hip hop is for all walks of life. That's what I love about it, because it's about storytelling, you know, storytelling from where you came from, because everybody has a different story. And I love that. I respect that, because before I used to be a purist. I'm like, man, if it don't sound like, you know, the golden age of hip hop, it ain't hip hop. And now
I've been
I'm
there
like,
too. Definitely.
You know, I had like, you know, I was upset about the situation, but then I grew from it. I'm like, you know what? I like mainstream. I like some of the stuff on mainstream, because, you know, we need to have some happy and you know, clubby music. We have to have some, you know, socially uplifting music. We have to have all this variety, because day to day we're not always wanting to hear that. You know what I mean? Like our day, it depends on how we feel. But I just get angry that mainstream doesn't want to, you know, also play music that is going to help people, is going to uplift them, you know, give them some sort of therapy, talk about the issues in our society. So I'm still upset about mainstream, not the music, but the people that are promoting it on the airwaves are not giving everybody a fair chance. But we know what the game is. We already know what the setup is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm happy that more rappers are coming in and talking about this, because I remember who was on Funk Master Flex or one of these other places saying that we know what hip hop is. We know what we consider hip hop. They know what hip hop is. You know what I mean? So that's always going to be there as long as there's, I don't want to say it, but as long as the leaders of the industry are who they are, it's always going to be that way. Because I'm a strong believer that they don't want to rehumanize us. They don't want us to feel empowered. They want us to keep us where we're at. We're just worker bees.
Barrel. Right?
Huh?
Crabs in a bucket, I meant. Crabs in a barrel.
Man, we're the worker bees, and we're here to do what we're supposed to do, and that's it. And it just becomes like it's more and more evident, throughout the years, or as I grow older, that's the way it's always been. And like financially, with the whole thing that happened with the GameStop stock share, you know what I mean? It's just it's blatant. It's a lot more blatant. It's like really in our face now, at least for me, or maybe I'm just what you call woke.
But I feel like I feel like now is the time for people to wake up to what's going on, because I feel like at least with SpeakerBox X always wants to promote, music that's real, but also, music that's fun to, groove to. But it's always wanting to also promote, hey, like we need to socially take care of this stuff. We have to remember that this is still happening to us, even though it's fun to listen to, music that's just about clubbing and having fun. We're still struggling. We're still caught in this circle, caught in this never ending circle, but we can get ourselves out of it. It's just that we need to start believing in ourselves. And I think we kind of lost ourselves. I feel like as a society, we kind of deviated from where we're supposed to be going because of all the distractions, everything that we hear in the news, and not to be mean, but like Lil Nas, I mean, at first I jammed to Lil Nas, but then after he put out, those Nike shoes, like, I mean, it's all good about freedom of expression, but there's like a limit. It's like, bro, you came up, singing to kids, and then you just turned your back, you did a 180, and now you're promoting sneakers with blood on them, and I mean, I'm sorry, we need to draw the line. We need to understand that there is a war going on. Like you said, there's a war going on outside, but it's also in our mind. Like, we can't allow people to keep, taking it as, oh, well, it's just music. But music does have an effect in you. It has an effect in your subconscious mind. So you have to realize that if you give it power, it's going to become your own reality, the negativity. You know what I mean? Like, I know we all have the dark side and we're trying to, keep that in balance. But I feel like the sneaker thing, man, he overdid it with the sneaker thing, man. Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean?
I thought it was wild too. I thought it was wild. I didn't even know if it was true or not. That's how wild it was. Like, supposedly there's human blood in them or something.
A drop of, he put that, he specifically put that, a drop of human blood. There's gonna be a drop of human blood in the sneakers. And I'm like, bro, like, people the whole 6'6" is overplayed. We've had that going on since forever, in the 60s, 70s, people with the, the beast and all that. But then when you stepped it up, man, you know what I mean? Like, nah, like that's, and then they're red shoes. So I'm really into symbology. So they're red shoes with blood, and I'm thinking about all the crazy stuff that I know about. And I'm like, I don't want people to start accepting it as, oh, it's okay for us to just be wearing other people's blood on us and maybe other people's skin too. You know what I mean? I don't want it to get, you know what I mean? Because people are easily influenced. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine if all the celebrities like, yeah, man, this is dope, man. Let's all have some blood and, you know what I mean, on our shoes. Like, and then people start accepting it as it being okay. And that's when we become dehumanized. We no longer will be humans. You know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing like the future, like way over.
It's crazy. I mean, I think there's a fine line between like theatrics and what's real, and shock value usually always wins. I remember Lady Gaga was wearing meat suits, like, you know what I mean?
I remember that, yeah.
Or meat dresses, and I don't know, like, where do you draw the line when, like, where art is? Like, can you? And then I feel like at the same time, you can claim that it's subjective. Like, I don't know, like what is good, what is evil, and we're like blurring out these lines so much now that it's okay to get a little worried. Like if you're gonna get worried, like I'm worried right now, like
Yeah, well, it's because we see a lot of toxicity in our society. You know, I mean, we're in a toxic world, 100, man. Yeah, every time I turn on the TV, turn on anything, it's like it's toxic. Like I know, like they talk about toxic relationships, they promote toxic, toxic everything. So it's like why are they pushing so much toxic on us? Like we have toxic food, we don't even got real plants no more. We got GMOs, we got chemtrail, we got all this stuff. And I feel like it's because they're trying to suppress our evolution. They really the forces, I don't want to give them that much power, but those that try to do what they are doing to control us, they don't want us to elevate because they know that they're going to be screwed once we are out of the matrix, like once we can break free from all their constraints and whatnot.
Trust me, we're on similar wavelengths, and I'm tired of sounding crazy, you know what I mean? I'm tired of sounding crazy. That's why like the music helps a lot. Like when people know what they're gonna get when they listen to me. They know me, they know my background, or they know of me, and they know who I run with, you know what I mean? By the way, shout out to Camerata, K's up. It's Camerata forever. And it's I don't know. I'm sure we can speak circles around this topic for sure. And
for sure.
Everybody has their opinion on this, and it's like I said, like what I'm trying to get at is I'm tired of sounding crazy. I'm tired of having these conversations with people that just want to live easy lives and they don't worry about the next man. It's just closed-minded people, I guess.
Yeah. That's true.
But to that, I just say, go bump some rather not.
Right? So rather not, yeah. Speaking of that, we're gonna go ahead and bump some rather not right now. We're gonna go ahead and play the track called "Old Me" versus "New Me" featuring Cynical Method by Rather Not.
Y'all see me on the I hung myself in a dream, woke up disappointed at 3 a.m. Gotta get ready for work, employment. I'd rather move weight than live enormous. Rather lick shots and dodge warrants. Fall asleep every night as someone's daughter till I find my queen bee like Miss Carter. Then we sharing the hose. I'm on a diet now, gotta stay light on my toes. My wrist was gleaming about a year ago. Now it's cup noodles and toast. I'm into this heat, ammo in my oats. Y'all boys is marshmallow sweet. Kettle corns, if you can't tell he from he. Fake dust can't tell he from he. I got nothing to lose, so what they take from me, what they take from nothing. Fake. That's nothing. Next surprise when I run up on you.
The old me and the new me.
The old me thought he knew me. The old me had me suffering.
But the new me got me 2G.
The old me and the new me.
The old me and the new me.
The old me thought he knew me.
The old me and the new me.
The old me had me suffering.
The old me and the new me.
The old me and the new me.
The old me and the new me. The old me lo extraño, mismo con los daños. Cause now I'm ODB, steady sin los baños. Trying to grab my own hand, give myself my own hand. Be my known dad to teach myself to own it. I'm a weirdo, I'm a stranger that strives upon adventure. It's clear to me I like danger, but I'm living on the fence here. I'm living on the fence here. I'm living on the fence here. Why pick it with the dog and swing, but remembering the hemisphere.
I'm living for green, I'm dying for dreams. Y'all still be living for cameras. I'm plotting these schemes, got master fees. Not having this money is cancerous. I'm living for green, I'm dying for dreams. Y'all still be living for cameras. I'm plotting these schemes, got master fees. Not having this money is cancerous. I'm living for green, I'm dying for dreams. Y'all still be living for cameras. I'm plotting these schemes, got master fees. Not having this money is cancerous. I'm living for green, I'm dying for dreams. Y'all still be living for cameras. I'm plotting these schemes, got master fees. Not having this money is cancerous.
The old me and the new me.
The old me thought he knew me. The old me had me suffering.
But the new me got me 2G.
The old me and the new me.
The old me and the new me.
The old me thought he knew me.
The old me and the new me.
I'm living for green, I'm dying for dreams. Y'all still be living for cameras. I'm plotting these schemes, got master feed. Not having this money is cancerous. I'm living for green, I'm dying for dreams. Y'all still be living for cameras. I'm plotting these schemes, got master feed. Not having this money is cancerous.
listening to
Yeah.
99.1 FM Downtown Radio, your antidotes corporate radio. You're now tuning into SpeakerBox X, Subterranean Hip Hop in Effect with your host V-Riv. We just played the track called Omi versus New Me featuring Cynical Method by Rather Not. We just been chopping it up. We are diving deep into the topic of what's going on in our society, and we're going to keep on diving deep into the mind of Rather Not. So when you create, do you have a creative space? Where do you draw your inspiration from?
My creative space right now is slowly being taken over by my daughter.
Nice.
But my creative space is I have a studio. I have a home studio, home setup, and I got some lighting up here. I got some new lighting coming in. I'm always trying to keep this environment fresh, and I always try to keep something new on the walls, so my art never stays too long on my walls. It's usually like sitting on the floor waiting to get replaced by something else.
Okay.
And aside from that, like I think my favorite creative space is driving around town, either at night or day, no matter what time, and bumping some beats and looking at my surroundings and letting the inspiration come to me. I think that's my favorite creative space. Other than that, here in the studio.
Nice. Okay. So, what do you enjoy doing in your free time? Like, what movies, books, magazines, podcasts have you been reading and or listening to lately?
Right now, as far as books, I think the last book I was reading is I was listening to it actually. I'm being lazy. I think it's called War of Art, and I just started it. It was recommended to me by yours truly and one of my homies, one of my day ones right there. And what else was I listening to or reading? Movies lately, I haven't been watching any movies. I like to watch just random things on YouTube. I go down the hole on the rabbit hole on conspiracies or just I'm really into tech stuff. So I usually just look up how things work, and then just innovative technologies. And then I don't watch the news very much, but I like to keep well versed in what's going on. And then you said movies, books, and what else?
Podcasts, magazine.
Podcast. I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. I like that. And then I listen to Lagos World, which is Lago Milagros podcast. And me and the homies were thinking about starting one ourselves, but I think I'm starting one solo for now. It was going to be me and Toxic. We're going to do it called Down Fool That's Crazy Fool, where we just go down the rabbit hole, like me and you are going down the rabbit hole right now, just talking about current events and crazy coincidences and things like that, just things that don't hit the mainstream media, like the Hadron Collider, things like that,
Yeah, things that matter. I feel like they matter because they're interesting, bro. Like,
yeah.
I feel like I hate people calling people like us or like me, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, bro, you haven't read a book in your life, have you? Like, I hate when they throw me like say that, right? Oh, you're just one of those people with the tinfoil. I'm like, have you done research? Have you looked up Bill Gates? Have you looked up Event 201? Have you actually looked at his TED Talks? Have you actually connected the dots? Like, bro,
TED Talks for sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I hate when they try to come at me and they haven't done any they listen to mainstream, like, well, how do you know what you're seeing is true? Because, bro, it comes from the mouth of the horse. Like, if it's coming from the mouth of the horse, I mean, it doesn't get more real than that. Like, I mean,
yeah, I don't know how I don't know what people's thought process is and how I think every day you should just as hard as you try to eat a good breakfast in the morning, you should definitely be having some healthy food for thought. You know what I mean? Like, you should definitely be feeding your brain something aside from positivity, but informative, very informative, and at least you gotta even if you don't believe in all the conspiracies, at least be well versed in the conspiracies so you can debunk people, you know what I mean, or have some sort of rebuttal so you don't sound like a broken record when you're telling somebody that what they're saying is crazy, because that's usually all I ever hear from people. Nah, that's crazy, you're crazy. Okay, well, tell me why I'm crazy, let me know, enlighten me, please. Yeah,
let me know, for real. Like, same here. It's just fear-based. It's all fear-based. I feel like people are scared to really voice their opinion because of the society we're in. It pretty much has, condemned people oh, we're gonna condemn you if you think that way. But who made that a rule? Who made you feel that way? Except the system that is actually doing this stuff to you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I don't know. It's crazy. Like, yeah, because I don't know. I just have some, I have some friends that are still like very, oh, that can't be real, that can't be true. But I'm like, well, how much reality do you need to have before you wake up? Like, we're in the Matrix. I mean, they throw movies at us, and you don't think there's any symbology behind it. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, for sure, the video games.
Yeah, everything, video games, Hollywood. Because before language, what existed? Symbols, right? Symbols. So if they're gonna tell us anything, it's gonna be through the language of symbols, and numbers, because those existed before we were able to talk. You know what I mean? Symbols have been something people have been able to use before, language was a thing. So
that's definitely true.
Yeah, so it's really hard though. But I'm glad we're on the same wavelength, and it's just nice talking to you. It's refreshing. Because my God, there's so much people that are just, it just at times you just want to just be like, you know what, just screw it. I don't even know why am I trying to do this? But then what if 10 years from now you don't want to look back and be like, damn, I should have done more, you know? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. My point is just like if you're Christian, if you're a diehard Christian, if you're of any denomination, like, have you ever read the Satanic Bible? Like, do you know what you're up against? Do you know, do you read any science? And I mean, you got to know your enemy. You got to know the enemy. It's like God's not going to punish you, or your whatever you believe is not going to punish you for studying your enemy and knowing what you're against. And that's what I feel people should do. They need to see both sides of every story and be able to come up with enough information or find enough information on both sides of the topic to make up their own inference. And because otherwise, I mean, that's all we can do at the end of the day is make up our own inference, make up our own mind of what the information we read really understands. And then talk to people who oppose you. You know what I mean? Have a conversation, not just an argument. Don't have any arguments, because nobody ever wins an argument. 100.
Yeah.
Be able to be communicated to and teach and be teachable. I remember in high school we had like the 12 pillars of the revolutionary mind, and I forget them all now. But I remember teach and be teachable is the one that stuck with me the most.
Damn, that's true though. You're right. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and take a break. We're gonna go ahead and play the track called "Anybody" featuring Lago Milagros and Paps by Rather Not.
When you create yourself to make it, you're going to have to either let that creation go and take a chance on being loved or hated for who you really are, or you're going to have to kill who you really are and fall into your grave grasping onto a character that you never were.
The rebel is here, started a movement and launched my career. The devil is near, keep the peace on me, the war's in the mirror. I've been out the loop, but now that I'm back, they want me to move. They want me to hush, stop grooving so much, cause I got the touch. These cowards keep telling me they hate the fact that I'm always so cocky, that I'm always so fresh and I always feel blessed despite if it's rocky. I've been through the mud, that's why I know that these haters can't touch me. So I keep spreading love, keep getting bugs as much as they doubt me. I know that you feel like you can stop me, but that's not true. I'm so sorry, Poppy. I'm too much for anybody, body. I'm too much for anybody, body. I know that you feel like you can stop me, but that's not true. I'm so sorry, Poppy. I'm too much for anybody, body. I'm too much for anybody, body.
Perdóname. Let's take a moment to honor my ordinance. I ain't even ordering. Showed up with tree, hung around like these ornaments. Ain't like these mortal men. Don't fit in the box, I ain't no contortionist. They all be so ornery. You can't have my number, cause sucker, I ported it. It came with me. Just like your girl, she came with me. Afraid to eat. Mad cause I'm feasting insatiably. Ain't change a thing. Audibly lessons and tame the beast. Explain defeat. Cause all of these lessons just train the beast.
I know that you feel like you can stop me, but that's not true. I'm so sorry, Poppy. I'm too much for anybody, body. I'm too much for anybody, body. I know that you feel like you can stop me, but that's not true. I'm so sorry, Poppy. I'm too much for anybody, body. I'm too much for anybody, body.
Mira, mijito, this flow tiene nitro. Mi carajito, I'm running with bulls. He's just a perrito. I'm rather obscene when I'm stroking my ego. It shouldn't be legal. Stuck up like cathedrals. Younger cerebral. She get hit first like a seagull. They say while I do it, it's purely a dream. Or sacrifice blood, me and you aren't equal. You standing real tall. Your mind stuck in fetal. Call me Rittenhouse cause we don't have no meat. They see the king coming up, Dios Jesucristo. Took all my max to the church. Now they are benditos. Friend of my enemy, always my enemy. Live by the street code, ain't no toxic. Still in the boy's heart. That's how I got it, don't worry, sweetheart. The colors I'm seeing ain't on any chart. I know this sound eerie, but this ain't black arts. Running the numbers and rounds, modern day car. You so go quiet in the car. I'm dropping the jewels, they all for your charge. Your money ain't good, all currency stars. All currency stars.
But mostly it's only left to me in the pen. Cause when I wanna hear some real dish, I just leave it to them. Cause seeing it spend hours when I speak in my head. But it's all good cause it will keep me on my feet in the end. Concentration and discipline are the keys in defense. And you gon' need it when I secretly come leap in your fence.
You're listening to 99.1 FM Downtown Radio, your antidote to corporate radio. You're now tuning into SpeakerBox X, Subterranean Hip Hop in Effect with your host V-Riv. So we just played the track Anybody featuring Lago Milagros and Paps by Rather Not. And we've been diving into the mind of Rather Not. And we're going to go ahead and talk about, can you share a childhood memory that you cherish that involved hip hop?
Oh, okay. I can share many. I remember one time I was home and it was me and my brother, and we were just like chilling in the living room, and then we're flipping the channels, and all of a sudden the box came on. And I don't know if anybody remembers the box, but it was,
I remember the box.
yeah, if you didn't have cable, you're watching the box. Yeah. Because it was a music video show. And I remember seeing for the first time in the same day, it was Jay-Z's one of the songs off the Reasonable Doubt, which is an amazing album. And I think Bone Thugs Crossroads was another video that played right after that or around that time. And it was just like, I was like, what? I was just like, I had no idea what a music video was up until I saw that. And then just the the symbols in there,
Crossroads, right? You have to make a choice, right? Meet you at the crossroads.
It was the crazy, I think what plays over in my head is like, when the guy walks up to Uncle Charles and he puts his finger on his forehead or something like that, and his eyes turn like full black. I think that image stuck with me the hardest. And then the image where I don't know if it was I Love the Dough off that Jay-Z video, but it was a white Lexus that he was pushing and he was driving around, and I was like, yo, that car is beautiful. And he was just like sitting on the hood of it rapping, and it was like, it just all blew my mind. It was like two different spectrums of hip hop, like one that's idolizing money and all the all the material stuff, and the other one is just like really talking about missing your homies and your homies dying and being faced with death every day. And it resonated with me a lot because I was living on South in the city of South Tucson at that time, and I think a few nights before there was just like a big gang war on my street, and there was dudes running up the street with chains in their hands and axes and bats and AKs and guns and rags on them and like bandanas on them. And so and the helicopter was out, and then there was smoke in the air, and the cops were everywhere, and it was just, I remember being scared, and then just looking out the window and then laying down on the floor whenever we heard the gunshots. And I remember looking at the wall. We had like a Virgin Mary hanging on the wall, and I was looking at her as the as the sirens were going off, and the helicopter would like shine into the house in our living room, and the red and blues were just like going off on the walls, reflecting. And yeah, it was, you know what I mean? It's like trauma, you know what I mean? But that's why. And then the next day I listened to some music that kind of had something to do with that, and then we were like, oh, I was ready to go outside and listen to like who died that day. You know what I mean? Yo, who got locked up? Oh, did you hear this fool got locked up? That fool got locked up, or they sliced that fool, or crazy stuff.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, that's a good memory. I mean, it's intense, but also shows you like life, at its, I mean? Like there's different walks of life. People pick what side they're going to go on, and I mean? You just hope they pick the best, the one they want. And so it made you realize at a young age, hey, like life could be short, life can be short.
Yeah.
Be taken quickly, especially by the system, man. Because I mean, man, some of the crimes that some people are in prison for is, it's petty, man. It's not even, they shouldn't be thrown the book and all that. But anyways, hip hop encompasses all that. That's what's so dope about it, is that hip hop encompasses all walks of life, and it talks about, spirituality as well as the material plane. And that's why I cherish about it, because think about pop. Like if I think about any other genre, I don't think any other genre can go as deep as hip hop. I mean, it has to have hip hop if it is, you know what I mean?
Definitely not. And that's what hip hop was at the beginning. Was the voice of the people, the voice of the struggle. You know what I mean? Of all walks of life, and now you've always had different types of people. I mean, what I'm trying to say is like there's all walks of life in the hood. I remember when I lived on 6th and 33rd, we had refugees from I think it was like Sudan, and we had white folk, and we had black other black people, people from Honduras, like Central America, and you had Mexicans, and it was just like a melting pot. But we're all going through the same struggle, and now. To think about how big hip hop is and how all those countries are represented in the game now, and that's what I live for. That's what I like. And I'd love to find a video from like somewhere that I never heard of with subtitles, and I can read, and I can bump along with what they're saying, and them speaking their struggle and where they come from, what they do, what they like.
True.
I don't think anything else like it. It's usually a lot about the struggle, a lot about poverty and stuff.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Who do you look up to?
In life in general?
Yeah.
I definitely look up to there's so many people. I look up to my brothers. I call them my brothers. Was I don't really have a whole lot of, I don't have friends. I don't have people I can consider my friends. But I look up to, I don't know, you guys, nobody would know them, but I would look up to my homie Luis Escalante. Like I look up to him a lot. He's a strong-willed man, he's very like relentless, always moving, always striving to do better for him and his family. I look up to my brother, who's the same way, coming from the same place that I came from, and seeing how he's taken his shortcomings and just made something out of literal nothing.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. I look up to my brother Lago and my brother Pabs from Camarada. Like them two dudes have gone through their own sets of struggles, and a lot of the people who I call my brothers have gone through like extreme situations, similar to me. And just to see them overcome, even daily tasks, I applaud them for it. Like Toxic used to always say, like, celebrate your victories, no matter how small they are, because most of the time you're going to be sad about your lows, and you're going to spend so much energy on your lows that even if you have a small victory, like it deserves a celebration. It deserves, a brewski or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back.
No, for sure. Yeah.
So. Yeah, George, my homie Lou, everybody, my boys in Camarada, my boys in AOK, if they're watching this, and my homie Caleb and my homie Steven, who goes by Suey Blue, and my homie Caleb goes by yours truly. There are also
Suey Blue, man. I haven't heard about him in a minute. How sweet. Yeah, I haven't heard about him. Like, he hasn't had anything new out. Like, I've been,
He's
keeping
cooking,
tabs on
living
him.
life. He's doing him. Like,
Yeah.
I'm proud of him. Recently, I mean, him like me, he lost his mother, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was crazy to see from the outside perspective of how he was going through it, and you know, and being able to help in any way that I could, and it really tore him up. And then he lost a really close person to him as well, his cousin that was like his brother, and he went through it for a while. He made all this beautiful music out of it. He's turned his his situations around, and he's been cooking, man. He's got a lot of good music, like a lot of good music in the vault right now. He's looking for the right time to drop it, and he's doing a lot of studying as far as music goes, and living life. You know what I mean? Enjoying life and appreciating life. And yours truly just dropped an album too. If you look up yours truly 666 on Spotify, you'll find his new album, and he goes like really deep into like psychoactive drugs and his battles with alcoholism and things like that. And there's drugs I've never done that he has, and the way he speaks about them, it's just almost like you go on that same trip with him, and there's a deeper understanding. It's like he's so smart. He's like a botanist himself. You know what I mean? He knows all these properties of different plants and different things that come from the earth that have a lot of healing properties.
You
and
you should have like a seminar or something in the future. Like, I don't know. I know that we can't because of COVID, but I'm like, he should have some sort of, that'd be dope for him to have like some sort of online, you know what I mean, class. And
he's got things in the works. He's doing his thing, and yeah, that's what they're up to. That's what they're doing. Those are my dudes right there. I look up to them like heavily.
Nice.
And they're younger than me too, so which goes to say, like, age doesn't mean anything. Yeah. You know, we've all probably lived 1,000 times over and over. You know.
True. 100. Yeah, I agree with you. So we're at the tail end of our conversation. It's been a pleasure. It's been dope chopping up with you. What are your words of wisdom for anyone who wants to pursue what you're doing? What are your words of wisdom?
So, words that I have for any MC is don't be scared. Don't let your biggest critic is always going to be yourself. And if you're doing it, I think your heart will tell you if you're doing it for the wrong reasons or not. But ultimately, for whatever reason you're doing it, make sure it's creative. Make sure you're putting your all into it. Your heart, your soul, your time, all of that. It doesn't matter who's telling you you're whack. For every one person that tells you you're whack, there's probably 10 people out there you never knew existed are listening to you silently, not saying anything. That's one of my biggest frustrations. Is I'll put it on my Facebook like, yo, if this song ever made you feel some sort of way, hit me up, let me know what's up, or hit my DM. And people they'll be quiet about it, you know. They're very personal with the music, and that's fine. That's good. And that's it. Just do it for the love of it.
Yeah.
Put everything you got into it if you're gonna do this. If not, there ain't no room for half steppers.
That's true. And you know what? Speaking of half steppers, that song from like the 80s, like ain't no stepping. I think Daddy Kane. I think that was Big Daddy Kane who sang that, yeah, or rapped to that. But that was funny when you said that. I mean, hip hop it's in you, man. You're like, you say stuff that I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? That came from
you. The reference to Mount Deep is ain't no such thing as halfway crooks.
Oh, that's true. 100%. So it's been a pleasure. It's been dope interviewing you. I can't wait to drop more material. Man, you're doing really good. I mean, the book of Rather Not. Okay, so one last question. So what's the main message that you want people to take from your album, Book of Rather Not? If there's a main message, what do you want them to take? If they listen to it, what do you want them to take home? Like, what's something that you're like, yes, if you can take anything from this album, this is the message I would like for you to take from it?
That's kind of hard because of how subjective that is. Like,
yeah.
I'm just happy that if you resonated with any of the songs, if any of that made you feel like you weren't alone, even if it made you bob your head, if you were in the car bumping that and it made you feel and you were right there with me, and that song was right there with you and whatever you were going through at that time, thank you. It's a blessing. I'm going to continue doing it for those moments. Not really much about the limelight. I'm not here to make millions of dollars. It'd be great. And ultimately, you know, that's the goal, but don't be a freaking sellout. That's it. Like, just be about you. Whatever you are is who you are, and that's what you want to be. Good.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong. I'm not here to tell you that you're right. I'm just really appreciative of and humbled by you listening to my music. That's it.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, you like if you're gonna be a fake person, don't rap, right? Be true to yourself, right? Don't fake whatever, right?
And that's
I know there's a lot of
that comes back to being a purist. Is like there's too many rappers out there. It's very oversaturated, and then there's a lot of people who I would consider are fake, not because I feel the music that they're making is whack or anything like that, but because they're not true to themselves. And
100.
times like dudes like me can tell, you know, you're doing it for the okie doke. You know, you want people to,
Yep.
you want people to be like, all right, cool, that's what's up. Damn, bro, you can spit, and that's fine. That's fine too. But I'm here to put my soul into this music.
Sweet. Okay. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, having this conversation with you. Yeah, I can't wait to hear more material from you. And yeah, I'm happy that everybody is, you know, you mentioned Suey Blue, you mentioned yours truly. I'm happy that they're cooking and that they're making music. So I'll be keeping tabs on that. So super excited.
Yeah.
All right, man. Have a good one. Peace.
All right,
man.
everybody. Much love. Peace out.